right now on a special presentation of Williamsburg Blue Pirate Games Galore. We're taking you back to some of the wildest and craziest moments that occurred during Williamsburg Blue Pirate Games Galore's first season of filming both Blue Pirate and Lady Pirate basketball. For the first time ever, you'll get to hear first-hand accounts from the videographer who was there and captured the incidents on tape. You'll also get to hear never-before-heard details about the incidents in question. It's all for a purpose: to remind the fans, players, and coaches the importance of good sportsmanship and good behavior in Williamsburg sporting events, and to show what happens when things don't go your way. This is the night the Blue Pirates were on edge.
Go! Rebounded by Burnball. Here's Brandner to Eisenberg. Just missed. Rebounded by Eisenberg. Eisenberg to Brandner. And it for three! We are tied at 68! And Jesse Brumar 6 for 6 is alive! Eisenberg to Repner. Repner to Brumar. Brumar to Brandner. To Parks! And it! For three! Sam Parks does it again! Here's Heilman. Heilman! And for three! Here's Leander Royer! Royer! For two! Lady Pirate counts! Here's Roy. Donovan. Williamsburg down. Need a miracle with 4 minutes to go. Here's Heilman. Heilman. To Brown. To Rinaldi. Rinaldi just missed. Rebound. And it's Williamsburg only down by 1. Good evening, and welcome to Williamsburg Blue Pirate Games Galore's special presentation of the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. I'm Patrick Detweiler, and I've captured plenty of great moments from my first season of filming both Blue Pirate and Lady Pirate basketball, such as Rowan Gorsuch's 1,000th point and Ayla Heilman's first game since her injury. But at the same time, I've also captured plenty of not-so-good moments during my first season. Moments that fans would want to forget. And for the first time ever in this documentary, I'll be taking you viewers back to some of those incidents. And I'll be giving you my first-hand account of the incidents. You viewers have seen the videos, but there are things that you might not have known about some of these incidents. In this documentary, you viewers will get to hear all the details and all the new information. And it's all for a great purpose: to remind the fans, the coaches, and the players the importance of good sportsmanship and good behavior in Williamsburg sporting events. And this is meant to show what happens when things don't go your way and when bad sportsmanship and bad behavior happens in Williamsburg basketball games. And just a little disclaimer: the people that are featured in this documentary with the incidents, this is not meant to criticize them, and this is not meant to throw them under the bus. Now, with that out of the way, we're going to start with our first incident in our first game. This is the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. December 18th of last year was my first road basketball game that I ever attended. If you viewers remember me from doing baseball my first year, I only went to the home games during the regular season, and then during the District 6 playoffs, I went on the road. Well, one of the reasons why I wanted to go on the road during my first year at this particular time was because Rowan Gorsuch was getting close to scoring his 1,000th point, and I wanted to be able to be there to capture it. So we were traveling to Penns Manor that night, and I went with Jen, Ryan, Rita, Gorsuch, along with Rockland and Rowan's girlfriend. We got there, to the game, and things were routine. We set up. I set up. The game started. Rowan Gorsuch did struggle during the game. He did score some twos. He added his points, added some buckets to his points, got a couple steps closer to scoring his 1,000th. And the game was routine the first 2 quarters. And then we get into the third quarter, and Jeff Detweiler has Dane Mock out, and he is defending this kid that's bigger than Dane Mock. And the ball goes to one of the players for Penns Manor. Dane Mock's defending him. And Dane Mock's trying to get the ball, and then the whistle blows, and the official goes over and gives Dane Mock 1 and whatever the foul was. And then all of a sudden, what happens next is totally unexpected. And a foul against Dane Mock. So after the official gives the foul call, he goes over and he talks to Ava, who I rode with that night, and he basically told her that it was a foul and not to, make anything worse. It's a foul. Let it go. And we did go into the rest of the game with a little bit of intensity in that third quarter. But then the fourth quarter, Sam Parks is on defense, and he's defending this kid that's a little bigger than him. And all of a sudden, whistle blows. The official calls a foul. He goes over and he gives the scores table Sam Parks 42 and whatever the foul was. And then all of a sudden, that's when our fans just lost it. Here comes Penns Manor. And another garbage call. A fan has been thrown out of the game. That's a first this year. This game is getting way too ugly. So a fan's been thrown out. And another fan's been thrown out.
The security guard is there.
This is starting to become ugly, people. This is the ugliest game I've ever filmed this year. After the official gives the foul call, our fans just start going absolutely crazy. And the official starts throwing one fan out. There was something that was said. I couldn't hear what was said. But the official threw one of our fans out. And then a moment later, another one of our fans gets thrown out. And you don't see our fans walking out on video, but what you do see is one of the other officials walking, and he's telling our two fans that got thrown out to basically get out of the building. And we go on to win that game 54-50. Rowan's a couple points closer to 1,000. But on the way home, all we were thinking about was what happened that night, where Dane Mock gets called for a foul, and one of our fans gets a warning, and then in the fourth quarter, when Sam Parks got called for the foul, and two of our fans get thrown out of the game. I did not see that coming. That was the first ejection that ever happened in my first year of filming Blue Pirate basketball, and it'll definitely be a game I will never forget. Welcome back to the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. The Lady Pirate and Blue Pirate fans have had issues with bad officiating at games. Specifically, the instance where a foul was called against one of our Lady Pirate or Blue Pirate players, and our fans clearly see that it isn't a foul, and that's when our fans start going crazy. If you thought what happened at Penn's Manor was crazy, well, the craziest is yet to come. We're going to talk about a badly officiated game at Claysburg against Berlin Brothers Valley in the ICC Championship game a little later. But the next incident we're going to talk about occurred at Southern Huntington. And here is the story. January 5th of this year was an exciting day for Lady Pirate fans, as Ayla Heilman would play her second game of the season after being sidelined due to an injury. If you watched the Bellwood game, Ayla Heilman was back to her ways. She was making threes and making twos and making free throws, and she was back to her groove. Going into the Southern Huntington game, the Lady Pirates found success, even though Ayla Heilman was sidelined the whole first month of the basketball season. But she was back for the second game of the season against Southern Huntington. Things looked routine during the introductions, but then not even a minute into the first quarter, and our first bad call occurs. And the foul is called against Anastasia Rinaldi. And this is what happened. Harvey just missed. And you gotta be kidding me. So hold against Williamsburg. So Southern Huntington ball. You could tell that our fans were starting to get rowdy after that foul call against Anastasia Rinaldi. Things were routine the rest of the first quarter. It felt more like a junior high game. It was low scoring, and we were making our baskets and threes and a couple of our free throws, but we were missing our shots also. And then we go into the second quarter, and that was routine. But with 3 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the second quarter, and also at 1 minute and 30 seconds to go in the second quarter, that's when the volume was turned up again, as Levada Gorsuch would get called for 2 fouls. And here they are. Shot, just short. Nice block.
Push, Mike.
I apologize, viewers. We had a little bit of anger issues. A shot. Another bad call against Williamsburg, this time on Levada Gorsuch. Let me mention this too, there was some negativity coming out of our coaches during one moment. It was either during a timeout or during the end of the first quarter. I remember I was off the air. But the negativity turned into positivity, I believe it was during the next timeout. And the rest of the first half was normal. We go into the third quarter, it's normal, but that third quarter was whenever we started to be in the fight of our lives. That's how I described it on the air. the score was really close. And Southern Huntington, I found out before the game from my one uncle that Southern Huntington was a really good team. So Southern Huntington, they were playing pretty good, and we were playing pretty good too. But it was a really close game in that third quarter. So we go into the fourth quarter of the Southern Huntington game, and that's when our fans start getting real rowdy. There were a lot of very bad calls made against us, specifically foul calls. And our fans did not like any of the fouls that were called against us during that fourth quarter. And it got so intense that not even near the end of the fourth quarter, maybe about a minute or two, Adam Heilman, he's real, he's not happy with any of the fouls that are being called against us. And he starts yelling, and then there was a moment during that, near like the minute or two mark of the fourth quarter, and the official almost gives him a bench warning.
Southern Huntington ball. Start this fourth. And a really bad call against Williamsburg. A shot. Just short. Here comes Royer. Royer. Tileman. And in for three.
It's a good goal. 3-point goal is good. Foul's on blue. 2-0.
And a disgusting call against Lavina Gorsuch. That's such baloney. That's Lavina's fourth foul. 4-2.
Stay out of the game, right?
Just short. Here's Royer. Royer. Royer to Pro. Pro to Heilman. And in for two. Here comes our Nathan.
Coach's warning, 2:57.
And a warning against the Southern Huntington coach. Royer. Here's Royer to Reagan Pro. Reagan Pro to Lavina Gorsuch. Gorsuch. So Lavina Gorsuch will go to the line.
So after all the fouls that were called against us, left and right, our Lady Pirates do survive, and we go on to win that game. Final score of 52-40. And this game and all the fouls that were called, this will be something from that game I will never forget. Welcome back to the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. After the victory against Penn's Manor, the Blue Pirates would go on to win 6 straight games. And we're going to talk more about the Blue Pirates later in the documentary. But now it's time to talk about the Lady Pirates. Going into this game against West Branch, the Lady Pirates have won 14 straight games, and their only loss coming against Bishop Guilfoyle. Amy Heilman's final year as the head coach of the Lady Pirates has been very successful so far, and Jill Norris made her long-awaited return as the voice of the Lady Pirates in the game against Berlin Brothers Valley, which was a thriller. If you haven't seen that video, be sure you check it out. So, Jill Norris became the co-commentator of Williamsburg Blue Pirate Games Galore this season, and the first game that me and Jill Norris got to work with together, actually the second one, was against West Branch. And here's the story. January 22nd of this year was an exciting day for Lady Pirate fans, as they would get to hear Jill Norris for the second time this season. And this would be the second game that me and Jill Norris got to work together on. We had just did the junior high and junior varsity game, which was both dominated by the Lady Pirates. So we went 2-0 so far against West Branch. And going into the next game, which was the varsity game, like I had mentioned, we had found a lot of success. We won 14 straight and only lost 1 game against Bishop Guilfoyle. Things were going good in the first quarter as Ayla Heilman would hit a 3, but then things didn't look right. I don't know how many minutes left in the first quarter. So it was our ball, and one of our teammates gave the ball to Leanna Royer. All of a sudden, the whistle blows, and something just wasn't right. And I was like, what's going on?
Branch 5. So we got Claire Carper, Levita Gorsuch, Bud Rodali, Reagan Pro, and Leanna Royer out for Williamsburg. Here's Royer from Pro.
Fix it right. Stop for that. Fix the right. You can't have the under arm yourself.
So Grace Colbert will come in for Leanna Royer. I have never seen that call before.
After the official blew the whistle, the official got Amy Heilman's attention, and he told Amy Heilman to put a player in for Leanna Royer, and it was like, for what reason? Well, then the official mentioned that there should be no Under Armour shown in the jersey. And I don't remember if any of our fans mentioned it out loud before the varsity game, but the PIAA had just implemented a rule where there wasn't supposed to be any Under Armour shown in the jersey. Well, Leanna Royer didn't know about that rule, and I guess Carrie Royer did not know about that rule, and so that's what happened. So one of the Colberts comes in for Leanna Royer. Leanna Royer goes to the bench, and things started to heat up after that. Something happened between Ayla Heilman and Levita Gorsuch, and as the game was going towards the end of the first quarter, and then the game ends in the first quarter. You know, I was heading to break. Jill Norris, and she's live streaming. She stays on the air. And all of a sudden, both of us hear Adam Heilman just start yelling at the team. He starts cursing. He starts swearing. And both me and Jill Norris are like, what's going on? We didn't expect it. Both of us witnessed what happened to Leanna Royer. And we both heard the official say about, you know, there shouldn't be any Under Armour shown in the jersey. But did we expect to hear Adam Heilman just go absolutely crazy? Absolutely not. And none of us saw it coming. So after that occurred, the rest of the game went good. We continued to dominate. We won our 15th straight game, and all was good. and it was a great game. But that moment where Leanna Royer had to be taken out of the game and one of our girls had to come in for her because of the Under Armour being shown, that moment for me and Jill Norris will be something that me and Jill Norris will never forget from this game. Welcome back to the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. If you viewers have watched the game show Whammy or Press Your Luck, you know that the goal of the game is to win as much money and prizes as you can, but you got to avoid the whammies. And 4 whammies, and you're out. And this describes the McConnellsburg game, as that's what I'll talk about in a little bit. But first, Jill Norris only does Lady Pirate basketball games. But for the first time in this next game, she gets to do a Blue Pirate game with me. And it'll be one that me and Jill Norris will never forget. Here's the story. Going into this game against West Branch, we were 7-1 in our last 8 games. One of our victories was the Penns Manor victory that I talked about earlier. But things started to not look right for the Blue Pirates. After losing to Bellwood Antis 49-30 in a very bad game where we were missing a lot of our shots, including baskets, free throws, and threes. And the game was so bad, Jeff Detweiler told the Altoona Mirror that basically he didn't have the team ready. So our next game was against West Branch. And earlier in the season, we played West Branch, and it was an extremely close game. So we kind of knew that this next game was going to probably be close also. This was the first Blue Pirate basketball game that I did with Jill Norris, and this was the first Blue Pirate game for Jill Norris getting to work with me. And it definitely lived up to the last game on the road against West Branch. The game was routine. It was back and forth. We had a lead. West Branch had a lead. And it was a nice back and forth battle the whole game. And one of the points during the game, we got to within 2 baskets. And going into the break, it's the end of the third quarter, I'm about to go to the cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders were going to take me to break, and I made some kind of mistake. And then all of a sudden, this happens.
20 seconds left.
Final seconds of this third. Taken away by Brandner. Here's Brandner to Gorsuch. Gorsuch! Just missed rebound. And in Fulton! And air ball. And at the end of the third quarter, Williamsburg 50, West Branch 52. It's a 1-point game. Cheerleaders will take us to break.
That second time we played West Branch, definitely lived up to the first time we played West Branch on the road, although we would go on to lose a close one. But something I did not know about till after the game ended, me and Jill were walking out of the high school and going towards her vehicle, and we were about to leave, and Jill Norris tells me that I made a mistake. And I did not know it happened. So Jill Norris told me, and here's the mistake I made. Going into the end of the third quarter, as I was about to go to the cheerleaders, and they were going to take me to break, I gave the score, which was West Branch 52 and Williamsburg 50, and I accidentally said that it was a 1-point game instead of saying either it was a 2-point game or a 1-basket game. And one of the West Branch fans heard it, and he basically criticized me for making that mistake. Well, during the break where the cheerleaders were cheering, one of our fans gets up and is talking to the West Branch fan, and Jill Norris told me that he basically was defending me because I made that mistake. That moment that occurred that night with the West Branch fan, that will be a moment that me and Jill Norris will never forget. So after what happened at West Branch, our Blue Pirates would win 2 straight against Curwensville and Moshan Valley. But things got interesting in our next game. We took on McConnellsburg. We had to travel the whole way to McConnellsburg for this game. The junior varsity game, it wasn't too good. We lost that game. Then we took on McConnellsburg in the varsity game. And pregame, it was routine, although the announcer did mispronounce Zach Slangin-White's name as, I believe, Slangin-White. But outside of that, it was routine during pregame. And then the game starts, and it doesn't start too good for us. We were down by, I don't even know how many points. You know, we weren't hustling, we weren't boxing out. We were making our baskets. We also were missing a couple of them. But it just wasn't too good. We weren't playing too good the first quarter of that McConnellsburg varsity game. And then all of a sudden, the first timeout was routine, and then the second timeout was called with 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the first quarter after a McConnellsburg basket. And all of a sudden, something happened that I did not see coming. Neither me nor the Blue Pirate fans.
Missed and turned over. Here's a shot. Doesn't go. Rebound. And in for 2. Timeout's called with 2:08 to go in the first. Williamsburg's down 18-10 to McConnellsburg.
You guys know. Why does it take me doing this? For us to play. No hustle. No box out. Who's going to be a leader? Will I have to go up? Or box.
All of a sudden, Jeff Detweiler starts yelling at the team. And the reason why he yelled at the team was because we weren't hustling and we weren't boxing out. And when Jeff Detweiler was yelling at the team, just about all of our fans heard him yelling, including the junior varsity players and Zach Slangin-White, who coached the junior varsity game earlier. And that was unexpected. I did not see that coming. And what made matters worse was that Rowan Gorsuch, who is usually part of our starting 5 just about every varsity game, he didn't play that night because he was sick. And Ethan Revner had to come in for him for this game as part of the starting 5. But that wasn't the only thing that happened in that game. During the fourth quarter, there was a point where the McConnellsburg offense was moving the ball down the court. Ethan Refner was on defense, and all of a sudden, this happened.
And in for two. Here's a shot by Refner.
Oh my God.
Foul is on Ethan Refner. And this game is getting too ugly. And now a bench warning against Williamsburg.
So the whistle blows, and the official goes to the scores table to give the foul. And the foul was called against 15 Ethan Refner. And Jeff Detweiler does not like the call. He says, OMG. And all of a sudden, the official gives Jeff Detweiler a bench warning. And that's when our fans start going crazy. They're like, what did Jeff Detweiler do? He didn't do anything. All he did was he was complaining over a foul that was called against one of our players that wasn't even a foul. And we would go on to lose this game against McConnellsburg by a final of 66 to 50. But what happened whenever Jeff Detweiler got the bench warning, that will definitely be a moment that I'll never forget. Welcome back to the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. Jerry Palmer started driving bus during the 2022-23 basketball season, and he got to experience plenty of great moments, which include the time that our Lady Pirates won both the ICC and District 6 championships during Amy Heilman's second to last year of coaching Lady Pirate basketball. But something that Jerry Palmer did not expect is the incidents that we're going to talk about next. First, an incident that occurred before our first District 6 game against Juniata Valley. Here's the story. February 21st of last year was an exciting day for Blue Pirate fans as the varsity would be taking on Juniata Valley in Huntington for the first round of district playoffs. Before I talk about the incident that occurred on Jerry Palmer's bus, let me give you some context as to what was going on before the incident. So, the week before the District 6 game against Juniata Valley at Huntington, our Lady Pirates made into the ICC playoffs. They took on Northern Bedford on Friday and beat them, and they secured their spot in the ICC championship game the next day. Jerry Palmer was our bus driver both days, both Friday and Saturday. Jerry Palmer mentioned, I believe, on the way home that he would be celebrating his birthday the next day. So we took on whoever we took on in the ICC championship game the next day. The junior high girls had already won. The junior high boys lost. And our Lady Pirates secured the ICC championship victory. We did our normal stuff. And one of the things I did was, you viewers probably already remembered, I recorded the escort when we were going in towards Williamsburg. And I recorded just about the whole escort, since it was Jerry Palmer's birthday. Well, that got posted on YouTube the next day. It was also put up on the Lady Pirate Facebook page. Now turn the clock to the day of the District 6 playoff game. I just got back from CTC. For those that did not know, during that time I went to CTC for culinary arts. It was culinary arts the first year, then it was service occupations, and now it's still service occupations, but they've expanded, so now you got retail and cooking. In my second year, it was only cooking. But anyways, I got back from CTC, I got my lunch, I sat with my normal friends that I usually sit with, and one of my friends told me that apparently Jerry Palmer said that he didn't like being recorded and he didn't like being on Facebook. So I thought, after one of my senior classmates said that, I was like, I'm going to be in trouble, since we were playing Juniata Valley at Huntington later that day. Well, turn the clock forward to the time as Jerry Palmer shows up. Jerry Palmer says, "Hey Patrick, I need to talk to you." And he also gets Melissa McGee's attention. Now, Melissa McGee was our cheerleading coach during my senior year and then my senior classmate's senior year. So I thought that Jerry Palmer was going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. You're in trouble," you know. But instead, Jerry Palmer said, he thanked me. And I kind of didn't expect that. I met Jerry Palmer along with the other cheerleaders on Friday when we were playing against Northern Bedford. So I didn't really know too much about Jerry Palmer. And I did not expect Jerry Palmer to thank me for recording the ICC escort on his birthday. I was kind of expecting the worst, but things went well, and Jerry Palmer thanked me. So we were getting all of our stuff loaded. We had a cheerleading bag. Each of us had a cheerleading bag that we brought with us to all the games, specifically the home games during the regular season, but we then were able to go on the road during the playoffs. And in our cheerleading bags is usually we'd have pom-poms, and we could put snacks in there, we could put our phones in there, and anything that could fit in that particular bag, we would put it in there. So we were loading everything up, and for some reason, Brock Anders and Tyler Elvey packed a speaker, like a really big speaker, onto Jerry Palmer's bus. Now, this was the first time the cheerleaders rode with the varsity boys. Previously, in 2019 and 2020, when I was cheering for the junior high, we didn't carry much stuff. We carried our cheerleading bag. The girls would carry Gatorade bottles and any stuff that they needed to bring. So most of the stuff that was on the buses that we took to the ICC championship games, the stuff was mainly light. But for this game against Huntington, Brock Anders and Tyler Elvey decided to bring a speaker, a really large speaker, onto Jerry Palmer's bus. So we did our checks and we were on our way, and all of a sudden one of the kids starts playing this inappropriate rap music, and it's starting to come out of the speaker. So you wonder why Brock Anders and Tyler Elvey brought that speaker onto Jerry Palmer's bus? Well, they decided to play their inappropriate rap music through the speaker while Jerry Palmer was driving. And Jerry Palmer did react, but he didn't react in a way that you might have expected. Maybe you expected Jerry Palmer to say, "Turn that off, it's inappropriate, I don't need to hear this stuff," you know. But Jerry Palmer did say something, but I don't think it was turn it off or shut it off or whatever. Jerry basically said something, but he didn't really speak up or tell the team to turn that speaker off and turn the music off. He basically let it just play. And we made our way up to Huntington. We did play bingo too. But maybe a day or two later, we find out that some of the kids that were on that bus that day, on the trip to Huntington, well, they got suspended. Now, you viewers might be wondering, how'd they get suspended? Well, if you haven't been on a bus, just about every bus that I was on whether it was Junior's bus or Randy Carper's bus or Jerry Palmer's bus or any other bus that I was on during my schooling years, they all have cameras. And anything that's said, anything that's done, it is recorded and it is archived. Now, one thing I am not sure about is where do they keep the archived recordings that are not used for evidence in an incident like this. What I will guess and probably say is how Jennifer Frederick found out about this incident with the inappropriate rap music on Jerry Palmer's bus was probably Jerry Palmer got the recordings and gave them to Jennifer Frederick or Lisa Murgis, who knows, and that's how they found out. Or maybe one of our senior classmates stepped forward and told Miss Frederick and Lisa Murgis that the kids were playing inappropriate rap music on Jerry Palmer's bus, and that's how they got suspended. But here's what's 100% true. There were kids from that team that got suspended because of the inappropriate rap music that was playing on Jerry Palmer's bus. And let me tell you, me and Jerry Palmer, we do not listen to rap music because of how inappropriate it is. There's curse words and there's all this inappropriate stuff that's in this rap music and all of the songs and stuff, you know, it would not be appropriate to listen to. And that's the story behind what happened on Jerry Palmer's bus. Turning the clock now to January 31st of last year, we were taking on Tussey Mountain after what happened at McConnellsburg. Before I talk about what happened before and after the incident at Tussey Mountain, here is what happened after the McConnellsburg game. I was on my way home. I rode with Miss Mock and somebody else related to her. I don't know who it was specifically. But I could remember on the way home, I did have service. And I remember that I got on the Blue Pirate page, the Blue Pirate basketball page, and also on my page. And I just remembered getting on both pages and just typing up an apology to the whole team and to the fans, because one of the bad vibes that occurred during that McConnellsburg game, after Jeff Detweiler's meltdown, it was almost, I basically said that the coaches, something just needed to change with the team. Even though it was Jeff Detweiler and Zach Schlangenwhite's first year during that time, it was almost like that it was almost like something just wasn't right with the team. And the reason why that I typed up the apology was because some of the things that was said during that game, the bad vibes, it was at the coaches. So I apologized on the Blue Pirate basketball page and also on my page. Now, did Jeff and Zach Schlangenwhite see it the next day? Who knows? Because they were both in school the next day. They both had to teach. And so a day later, this would be on a Wednesday. The incident at McConnellsburg occurred on a Monday. So I was getting ready for the game. I had my batteries already charged. I had already made my game day post. And I was getting ready. And all of a sudden the phone rings. And it was Lori Lauer. And with the bad vibes that occurred at McConnellsburg, a lot of people were very concerned about me because what happened that night, was not something that our fans expected me basically to behave. So the phone rings again, and it's Lori Lauer. So I have my stuff all ready. I walk out with my stuff, and I'm also holding the home phone. I walk outside of the front porch, and Lori Lauer, she's talking to me. She's giving me these scriptures, and she is encouraging me that she was telling me about, in the Bible, Barnabas means son of encouragement. And Lori Lauer is basically explaining all this to me, and she was encouraging me that, to paraphrase it, whether we're doing good or whether we're doing bad, you still should be Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. You still should be encouraging the team and supporting them. And that's what Lori Lauer was basically telling me that night. So, whenever she was done talking to me on the phone, she hangs up, I hang up, I wait for Jen, Ryan, Gorsuch to pick me up. They pick me up, and we're on our way to Tussey Mountain, and Ryan Gorsuch is explaining to me about, we still have a shot at the playoffs, even though the West Branch game, which I mentioned earlier, that did, by the way, have an effect on our playoffs, because that loss meant that we were eliminated from the ICC playoff contention. But we still had a shot at the District 6 playoffs. So Ryan Gorsuch was explaining all this to me, and I also rode with Rowan's girlfriend, and we made our way to Tussey Mountain. We got there. Jerry Palmer's bus is parked. We get in, and I'm set up, and I didn't realize this, but I was in the wrong spot. So where I was, so there was not many good open seats where I could set up my camera for the game. So the game starts, and going into the first quarter, I had an issue with my recording. Now, my camera was working, everything was working in perfect order, but unfortunately, I was in a very bad spot. I was accidentally in the Tussey Mountain student section, and they were blocking the way. Everybody in front of me was standing up, and I couldn't see anything. And so, Miss Mock gets my attention, and she says, "Hey, do you want to move over here?" And I said, I think I might have asked her and said, "Do you have an open seat where you're at?" And she basically says yes. So I move over there, and near the end of the first quarter, I'm readjusting my tripod, since I'm in a new position. And by the end of this first quarter into the second quarter, I was readjusted, ready to go for the rest of the game. So we go into the second quarter, we were down, and there was this one particular moment during the game where the Blue Pirates were on defense. Tussey Mountain had the ball. Miss Mock said something, and then I said something, and then for some reason, the Tussey Mountain student section, they said something, and then I said something, and then their student section said something. And what happens next is really interesting.
Talk on me! Come on, player, we want the ball to go the other way. Grab it and steal it. Shot doesn't go, rebounded by Sam Park.
I'm not saying a thing to you guys, so you don't need to say anything to us.
Here's Eisenberg! Headed for three! What a way to silence the Titan crowd!
So we got a rebound after Tussey Mountain missed their basket, and Miss Mock starts yelling at them. Basically, he didn't say anything to you guys, so you shouldn't be saying anything to us. And all of a sudden, Preston Eisenberg hits this three. And if you haven't heard the call when that occurred, you really need to watch it. And so Preston Eisenberg gets the three. We're still down. So we go into halftime. I do my normal stuff. During that time, I talked about our baseball fundraiser that we were having. And then I talked about baseball season coming up in March, and that was a routine halftime. And then going into the third quarter, into the third and fourth quarter, that's when things started to get really interesting. I believe this next incident occurs in the third quarter. So it was our ball, and Tussey Mountain had just about their whole defense around us, and the whistle finally blows, and all of a sudden this happens.
Shot. Doesn't go. Rebounded by John Smith. Call the foul. That's baloney. That is such baloney.
Next time.
So Williamsburg gets their second warning of the week.
So with 42.7 to go in the third quarter, the whistle blows, the one official goes to the scores table and gives the foul to the people working. And they call the foul on Ethan Refner, 15. And it's like, here we go again. Because this was the second time that week that Ethan Refner was called for a foul, and nobody on our team agreed with it. Neither our fans nor our coaches. And at the same time, after the official gives the foul, he gives Jeff Detweiler another bench warning. And me and Miss Mock were like, are you serious? What did he do? Now, if you watch the video, Jeff Detweiler never says anything. You know, if you remember the McCallsburg game, all Jeff Detweiler said was OMG, and then the official gives him the bench warning. This time, Jeff Detweiler never even said anything. So, we get a bench warning. Our fans are just going absolutely crazy. If you thought things couldn't get any worse in this Tussey Mountain game, well, it most certainly did. We get the ball. Rowan Gorsuch is about to take a shot. And all of a sudden the whistle blows. And then this happens.
Here's Gorsuch. Gorsuch to Zaner. Zaner to Gorsuch. Call it both ways. Throw that whole student section out!
So as the official is going towards the scores table, one of our fans gets ejected. And it just so happens to be Rowan's girlfriend that I rode with that night to the game. And all of a sudden, another one gets ejected. This time, it wasn't any of our fans. It was a Tussey Mountain fan that got ejected. And it was just absolute chaos and absolute pandemonium. The coaching staff was going crazy. Jeff Detweiler, Zach Slingenwhite, Michael Lingenfelder. Our fans were going crazy. And I'm sure Jerry Palmer, who was in the hallway at that time, he either reacted like, here we go again, or was just absolutely shocked when he heard all of this commotion coming from the hallway, especially after a foul was called against Rowan Gorsuch that wasn't even a foul, and our fans just going really, really crazy. And so that happens, and Jerry Palmer, I'm sure, heard it from the hallway. In addition, there was another moment that I will throw in as well. So if you thought those two fouls that I just mentioned that resulted in a bench warning for Jeff Detweiler and an ejection for one of our fans was bad, well, something else happened. And here is the incident.
Take it away by Refner. Here's Refner. George mishandles it. Just missed. Rebound. Just missed. Call the foul. Call it both ways. Refner shaking up.
No foul?
Call it both ways. For the love of crying out loud.
You gotta get control of the game, right? Getting rough down there.
So Ethan Refner is shaking up right now.
See him up!
Show some class, boys. Show some class. Good grief. So Ethan Refner's out of the game.
I saw one that we didn't have lines. They were good.
So we have. So Evan Zahner is going to come in for Ethan Refner. We will keep you updated. Timeout's called.
So with under 3 to go in the fourth quarter, Ethan Refner intercepts a pass by a Tussey Mountain player. He gives it to Rowan Gorsuch. Rowan Gorsuch mishandles it. He takes a shot. He misses it. Ethan Refner gets the rebound, and he misses it. And all of a sudden, Miss Mock starts yelling, "He's bleeding! He's bleeding!" The whistle blows, and it's Ethan Refner. He had just lost his contact. And Ethan Refner, he goes over, he has Jeff Detweiler checking him and stuff. And there was a foul called during that moment too. I'm not sure if it was against us or if it was against Tussey Mountain. But another thing that occurred while Ethan Refner was being checked by Jeff Detweiler, the fans for Tussey Mountain, they were being very disrespectful. They were being like loud, and they just could not be silent for a single moment while Jeff Detweiler was checking Ethan Refner. So Ethan Refner, he comes out of the game. Evan Zahner comes in for him. And then a couple minutes later in the fourth quarter, and Ethan Refner, he does come back into the game. But that wasn't the only crazy thing that happened during those last couple minutes during the fourth quarter. Going the whole way back to under 6 in the fourth quarter, about 2 minutes in, Tussey Mountain makes one of their shots. Timeout's called. I do my usual stuff. I go to break. And all of a sudden, I hear Jeff Detweiler start yelling at the team. And this was only the second time during that week that he did that, during a timeout. And I don't remember what he said, but I just remembered hearing Jeff Detweiler, he wasn't very happy with how this game went and how it was going. And he just starts yelling at the team. And after that occurred was when Ethan Refner lost his contact. We did make a comeback, but we lost by a final score of 65-60. I will mention this too, that this wasn't the only time that me and Jerry Palmer experienced something this intense. Last season during baseball season, when Jerry Palmer was coaching his first year, we were taking on Glendale, and there was a very bad call. Culver Bonnets, he bunted, and it looked like he made it to first, but the officials, the umpires, said he was out. And that's when our coaches just went absolutely crazy. And then a moment later, one of our players, you know, there's somebody, I believe at first, and all of a sudden, one of our players says something, and Luke Upplinger says something, and all of a sudden the umpire gives us a dugout warning. And that just added to how bad that game was against Glendale. We had experienced something like this during baseball season, me and Jerry Palmer, but I don't think me and Jerry Palmer ever experienced something this intense like what happened at the Tussey Mountain game, with the bad calls, the bench warning against Jeff Detweiler, the ejection of one of our fans, and Ethan Refner losing his contact. Those moments right there will be something that me and Jerry Palmer will never forget. So we were on this 3-game losing streak after the Tussey Mountain loss. The story for the rest of the season for the Blue Pirates, we'd win 2 straight against Glendale and St. Joseph. Then we would lose 2 straight against Juniata Valley and Berlin-Briars Valley. Then we would win 3 straight with a win against Harmony in the final regular season game. Then we won 2 playoff games against Blacklick Valley and Bishop McCourt. And then we would lose 2 straight again in the District 6 championship game against Bishop Carroll and Cameron County. So that was the rest of the Blue Pirates schedule. February 17th of this year was an exciting day for Blue Pirate and Lady Pirate fans, as 3 of our basketball teams made it into the ICC championship game. Our junior high Blue Pirates, our junior high Lady Pirates, and the varsity Lady Pirates. We were off to a good start as the junior high Blue Pirates won their ICC championship against Tussey Mountain. Then the Lady Pirates, the junior high, won their ICC championship against Berlin-Briars Valley. And now it was time for the main event, the ICC championship game between the varsity Lady Pirates and the varsity Berlin-Briars Valley Mountaineers. And let me mention this. If you did not see the first Berlin game against us, which occurred during the regular season, it was a nail biter. But we won in the end. We came out of that game a winner. So, there was along the line. We were looking to win our second ICC championship in back-to-back years. Now, we won other championships previously for ICC, but the back-to-back years, it was special, because Jerry Palmer, our bus driver, was celebrating his birthday. And so if we won our second ICC championship in back-to-back years on Jerry Palmer's birthday, he would get a special surprise. Not only him, but also our players, our coaches, and our cheerleaders. So, the introductions were normal. The national anthem was normal. Everything pregame was normal. I started my special video since it was Jerry Palmer's birthday. And then things went south. The first 2 quarters of the game, we were playing badly. We were missing a lot of threes. Leanna Royer and Ayla Hammond were missing their threes. And we did make a couple of our baskets, but we weren't making our threes. And we did make a couple of our free throws, but we didn't make many of our free throws. And the first 2 quarters of the game were not too good. So we go into halftime down, and Berlin, they were playing really good as a team. They were making their threes, and they were making their twos, and they were making their free throws, and they were dominating. So we go into the third quarter, and another issue that we had in this game was we were getting a lot of fouls called against us. And here are some examples of some of the fouls that were called against us during the first 3 quarters of this ICC championship game.
First, team second, so Berlin ball. Shot blocked by Gorsuch! Fouls on Heilman. Her first, team's first. Here's Berlin.
To describe the first two quarters of that Berlin game, it wasn't very good. And we go into the third quarter, of course, we're down. And there was one moment that occurred during the third quarter that I will definitely remember for a long time. So, under 4 to go in the third quarter, Berlin Briars Valley makes one of their shots, timeout's called, and all of a sudden, this happens.
The timeout is called. So 4:46 to go in the third quarter. Lady Pirates down 33-25. Back to Mark for the break. So 22 at the line for Berlin. Technical, I'm not 100% sure. Berlin ball. I can tell you here, things are getting very ugly.
It was absolute pandemonium during that moment. So Berlin Briars Valley makes one of their baskets. They call timeout. And Amy Heilman, she is so ticked off with this game because a lot of fouls were being called against us that, if you've seen this documentary already, they weren't fouls according to us, but according to the officials, it was a foul that we committed. So Amy Heilman is ticked off. She wants to talk to the official and tell them her displeasure. So she starts walking, and all of a sudden, Tim Campbell gets out of his seat. He runs over and pulls Amy Heilman back into our bench, and I go to break. And then coming out of the break, we get called for a technical foul. So not only did this game get absolutely ugly because of the bad fouls that were called against us, but basically what happened during the timeout in the fourth quarter, that made the game even more ugly. And of course, if you saw the game, Ayla Heilman did make her last 2 threes that she attempted, and we lost the ICC championship game. It was an absolute disappointment, but our Lady Pirates did get runner-up, and even though Jerry Palmer did not get an escort that day for an ICC championship victory, at least the Lady Pirates got to celebrate Jerry Palmer's birthday with the team, and this moment on Jerry Palmer's birthday that involved the head coach of the Lady Pirates and the assistant coach of the Lady Pirates will definitely be a moment that I'll never forget. Welcome back to the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. So if yours are wondering, why did I do this documentary? Why did I make it? So, as we get closer and closer to basketball season, starting near the end of November, I wanted to address an issue that has been going on involving our Blue Pirate and Lady Pirate fans and how they react to foul calls. So, as you viewers have seen in this documentary, there have been plenty of moments where a foul was called against us, our fans disagree, and our fans react in a very bad way. And I want to just say this. When you're imitating the officials, that's not a good idea. That is not how you deal with a foul that is called against your team. I honestly think that there is a better way to approach this. And let me mention this too. I'm not saying that practicing your freedom of speech in a basketball game or even in a sporting event in general is wrong. But there's a better way to practice your freedom of speech in a sporting event. And I get that our fans are trying to make sure that our kids are being protected and kept safe while they're playing their sports. But when you're imitating the officials, that's wrong. It should never happen in a basketball game, neither a basketball game nor any other sporting event that our kids play in. It does not belong in any sporting event. It's just wrong. And I understand that Jeff Detweiler, when we played against McCallsburg and Tussey Mountain, that he wasn't too happy with the fouls that were called against Ethan Refner. But the way he reacted, it was not the way he should have reacted. He should have reacted in a better way. Instead of doing what he did, he should have took a deep breath and just told himself, it's okay. It's just a foul. And when our fans get worked up over a foul, that doesn't benefit anybody. You know, it has a bad effect on your body, and we don't need stress. You know, I get that some of the basketball games that I've filmed last season, they've been close, and some of them have been stressful, but it's not okay to get yourself worked up over a foul, and it's just not good. And I want to make this clear that instead of imitating the officials, by the way, the officials, they are humans too, and they make mistakes sometimes. So instead of imitating the officials and making these rude comments at the officials, let's give them a break. Let's respect them. You know, better yet, why don't we just encourage them? You know, sometimes they do make mistakes, like we all do. We're all human. We all make mistakes. But when we imitate the officials, when we make those rude comments, we're making it worse for them. Because who knows, they might have had a bad week already. And we basically made their week a whole lot worse. So I think with imitating the officials and stuff, we need to stop that. And we need to approach, whenever we get a foul called, we need to approach it in a better way. We need to take a deep breath, we need to calm ourselves down, and we need to move on with it. That foul does not need to be a burden on our back during the game. You know, we're there to cheer on our Blue Pirates and our Lady Pirates. That should be the only reason we are going to these sporting events. Not to imitate the officials, not to try to get ejected, neither of that. The people that are, the schools that are hosting these basketball games, even us, They're expecting our fans and the opposing fans to be on their best behavior. They do not tolerate the imitating the officials or any of the rude comments that are made against the officials. I'm going to make another thing clear. The cursing and the swearing. Listen, I am recording just about the whole game. My camera is just about rolling the whole game. The only time I don't record is during timeouts and also pre-game. Now, I do record sometimes during halftime, but not very often. So, whenever you complain, it's okay to disagree about a foul call, but watch what you say. Because if you're near a camera and you start cursing and swearing, everything that you have said, it's on video. Or it would be on audio. So, let's make sure that we watch what we say. Think about the fans and the coaches that'll be watching this game later. They don't need to hear the cursing and the swearing because of complaining over a bad call. They don't need to hear that. They just want to be able to watch the game and just enjoy watching the Blue Pirates and Lady Pirates play. So I want to make that clear. And with the coaches, I get it. You have a very important job, and sometimes it can be stressful. But when that becomes, anytime that it becomes stressful during a game, especially if a bad foul is called against us, I encourage you, take a deep breath. Calm yourself down. Tell yourself it's okay. It's just a foul. You know, the foul should not be affecting the job of the coaches. Because the coaches, they're the boss. They're the ones that make the important decisions. And I've learned this with baseball too. I have made the mistake of just criticizing what the coaches decide, their decisions. And at the same time too, just criticizing the whole team. And I've admitted it. I can admit it right now. That was wrong looking back. And I've learned that that's not how you're supposed to behave at a sporting event. And I'm sure the fans have learned that imitating the officials and just complaining, not complaining in general, but when you're imitating the officials and you add to the complaining, that's wrong. And you shouldn't be doing that at a sporting event. So, looking back, one thing that I have learned during the baseball offseason and then going into basketball season, I've learned one thing, and I'm going to share it with you. It's not always about the winning. Now, I understand that we all want to win. We want to see our Blue Pirates and Lady Pirates find some success during this season. But I think there's a bigger victory than just whether we win or whether we lose. I've learned that we're part of a family. As parents, coaches, players, we're all part of a family. And when we win, we should win together. And when we lose, we should lose together. Or actually, when we win together. When we lose together. We should be there for each other. We should be there to encourage one another. And especially our fans, we need to start encouraging the coaches. Because the coaches, they have a very stressful job. And not just the coaches, but the officials. They have a very stressful job. Sometimes the fans make the officials' job 10 times harder when they're imitating the officials, when they're making these rude comments, and, and I just want to encourage you viewers, going into this season, going into basketball season, I want to encourage you viewers, when we reach that moment when a foul is called and we're about to just lose it, and I'm talking to the coaches, but I'm I'm not just talking to the coaches, but I'm also talking to the fans. Listen, when we get called for a foul and you're about to lose it, take a deep breath and calm yourself down and encourage yourself. Look, this is a foul, and just don't let it affect you. You're there to cheer for your team. You're there to encourage the team, and you're there to support the team. And that's the reason why we go to these basketball games and these other sporting events that our Blue Pirates and Lady Pirates are part of. We're there to watch them play, encourage the team, support the team, and be there to enjoy it. And that's one of the things I've learned looking back is I have the pleasure to get to film these teams. I have the pleasure to get to work with Jeff Detweiler, Zach Slangenwhite, Angela Detweiler, Mandy Pro, Carrie Royer, Jerry Palmer, Mike Reffner, Michael Farrell, Jerry Lauer. These people I'm mentioning, these are my teammates. These are my friends. And it's a pleasure to get to work with them. And one of the things I've learned is that I should enjoy that. That's a pleasure to get to do that and get to work with these teammates of mine. And not only them, but also the parents, the coaches, and even the players. It's a pleasure to do it. And for the fans, you know what? It's a pleasure when you get to go to these games and you get to watch your kids play. And that's what it should be all about. It should not be about complaining and imitating the officials and all this stuff. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to go. I want to encourage you viewers, as we close this documentary, number one, I'm going to give you some key takeaways. Number one, we should stop imitating the officials because that's going to go nowhere. That's number one. Number two, actually continue with number one. Instead of imitating the officials and doing what we've been doing, we need to encourage ourselves. It's okay. Take a deep breath. Calm yourself down. Number two, you're there for a reason. And the reason that we're at a sporting event is we're a part of a family consisting of our coaches, our players, and the parents. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's not always about the winning, but it's being a part of a bigger family as a team. And we need to be there to encourage the team. We need to be there to support the team. And I'll mention this again. When we win together. When we lose together. And that's what family is about. That's number two. And number three, instead of imitating the officials, let's encourage our officials. Let's encourage our coaches because they might have gone through a tough time. And I feel like if we encourage the officials and respect the officials and encourage the coaches and respect the coaches and support the coaches and support the officials, things will be a whole lot easier. We'll have less ejections, less technical fouls, less bench warnings, less dugout warnings. A sport will be back to a normal sport, and it'll be back to the way it's supposed to go. Just a normal sport, fans getting to go, watch the team play, cheer on them, support them, and the players giving it their best every single game. That is what it's all about. Thank you, viewers, for watching the night the Blue Pirates were on edge. And this is Patrick Detweiler signing off.
four-hander. There's Breffner. Got it! 4-5 for three. First three goes to Ethan Breffner.